Cowboys Nation. How the hell y'all feeling right now?
Yo, this is Neville Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it?
What is up? Hopefully, you guys are feeling good. Our boys won the game. I hauled Bud up here to the hotel room. I was watching the bar, but maybe we might get some people stopping in. But man, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, was it, Cowboys Nation? But it was something this team needed. It's something, if you guys followed me, if you guys listen to me, you guys know that I've talked about it, and you needed one of these dirty games. You needed one of these games that just it wasn't going to be pretty. And you wanted to see this team had the fight, did this team have the drive, and we're going to get into it. But that is the kind of win that I was hoping for. I didn't need to see him blow anybody out. I wanted to see just a dirty, nasty game that pissed you off and it got you all riled up and fuming and it got all this other stuff. But I just needed to see that kind of game, and I saw it. We're going to get into it. Like I said, it's still a lot to digest, but it was just, take a deep breath. We had a lot of pressure because San Francisco lost, Philly lost. We all talked a lot of shit on Twitter. I saw my man Coles talking that mess. My man Jay Tuck was doing it. Kelly, of course, is going to be talking that smack. So we had a lot to prove, to make sure that it wasn't for naught. And like I said, it didn't. There was moments where you're just getting frustrated. Let's just be honest. Yeah, the officials. I wasn't digging the officials. If you want to know something that I ain't digging, I wasn't digging the officials. And watching in the hotel bar is different than being able to be in the cave or being at the game. But I tell you what, it was cool. And I'm in Texas. Unfortunately, it made me have to work in Houston, so I had to sit and watch it in a hotel room or down at the hotel bar, and there was some haters out there. Of course, I'm going to have to mix it up with them a little bit. You know how that stuff goes, but it was a good game, man. So what you guys is feeling? It sounds like you guys are feeling good. The offense is still, it's still got some work to do, but we're going into this bye week. Get everything right. Then what do we got the Rams coming up. We got some games. If you look at our schedule, you got some opportunities to make things happen. So I'm feeling good about it. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I got to look at all the numbers. I'm going to pull it up on my phone to see how everything kind of played itself out. I predicted a big game from CD. You knew they were going to feed CD. CD did what he did. But what was your concern on offense? Because I will give you my concerns, but I want to hear yours, because there was one glaring thing that I talked about preseason, and I know Mark will be supporting me if he's on here, but the running game. And I love Pollard. Huge play by Pollard. Huge play by Dak, getting it to Pollard. But I'm this running game, and I'm talking about getting them dirty yards, that physical running game. Pollard's better on the outside. I just do not like seeing him. I don't like seeing him, in between the tackles getting beat up, man. You saw him get caught from behind. You're wondering, is he down a little bit? Was he tired? But I just got to see. I got to see it. And I know my negative man, Ultra, he's going to be out there. Of course, we're a tier below the 49ers and Eagles. Didn't the Eagles lose to the Jets and the Niners lost to the Browns? But I predicted the Browns lost. I'll take that. And I also at my party Saturday, my upset special was the Eagles losing. So it definitely was a great game. Yes, I'm sorry I couldn't watch it with the family. They're definitely watching, but it was a good game. But guys, what's your thoughts on the running game? Are you comfortable with what we have? Do you think we need to make a phone call to somebody? So I love Pollard. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just worried about the toll that it's taken on the season. So definitely want to get your guys' thoughts on that. And let's see. What do we got? We got a little fight here that was ugly, but a win is a win. Absolutely. But if you guys listen, when Kelly and I were on Wednesday, we gave our predictions. I had a 20, I think I had 24-20 or something like that. The concern that I wanted a fight. I wanted to see this team fight. I wanted to see something that wasn't going to be an easy win. I wanted to see this team face some adversity. Now, let's just be honest, a little bit more adversity than we wanted, probably a little bit more adversity than I want to deal with all the penalties, undisciplined penalties. Have we gotten a team that's gotten offsides more in my lifetime than what we've seen in the past few games? They have got to clean it up. The coaching, again, I'm in it for the run, man. I'm not gonna dog the coaching, but I think offensively we've got some questions that need to get answered. Like I said, it wasn't the prettiest game in the world. I think that just the undisciplined penalties is just something this team they got to figure it out, man. They got to figure this thing out and they got to clean it up. They did. You really didn't see this a lot last season. Like they kind of cleaned it up, but man, when the team had to look, when it came nut cutting time, let's just be honest. When it came nut cutting time, the defense showed up. The offense did what they had to do. Ballsy play on third. We were arguing about it in the bar. Do you run the ball and drain the clock, or do you go for the gusto and go for the win and seal the deal and pass the ball to try and get the first down? They threw the ball to Pollard. Pollard had the guy beat. It wasn't a good throw. It wasn't a good throw. It should have been a touchdown. And the Cowboys, this is the one thing I'll say, Ultra, is the Cowboys miss the tight end. Now, Ultra was high on Schoonmaker, so I thought we had our legit tight end from your preseason thoughts on Schoonmaker. I thought we had our legit tight end, but I think we are hurting in the tight end position, and it's just something that, do we have them on the roster? Is it something we gotta work these guys through? Doug, where's Schoonmaker? Absolutely. I think if you're looking at something with this offense, there's something that I'm not seeing with this offense. It's a tight end. And Schultz was not my favorite. You guys know that. He scared me every time he touched the ball. But I'm thinking we are missing that tight end. That safety valve for Dak Prescott, that's something that is missing. Michael Gallup, guys, helped me because I'm watching it in a bar. I'm not hearing the audio, but Michael Gallup just seemed like he was dropping some passes. It just did not look like a very good game for Michael Gallup. CD, I said, was going to have a big game. He was my hungry player of the week. And I got to look at everything further, but I think he would be my nominee for hungry player of the week. He made some critical catches in key situations. It was definitely good to see him get involved. We need this bye week. I think we need the bye week, C-Dog, no doubt about it. We've got to fix. There's some things we got to fix. We got some things we got to fix offensively, and there's things that we got to fix defensively. But now's not the time. I'm not going to beat the hell out of them. We won a road game against a non-common opponent in the Chargers. It's never an easy thing, even though it was like a home game for the Cowboys. You're taking 2 West Coast trips. Cowboys are 4-2 going in the bye week, and if you look at it, that's what I thought we'd be. I thought we'd be 4-2 in the bye week, and I thought we'd be 7-3 after 10 games. So your boy is right on the money so far. They missed. See, I thought that was an illegal contact, Michael. They said that there wasn't. I was kind of reading the things, and it said that there wasn't enough contact. But I thought 100% it was illegal contact. So I'm glad someone else has believed me. 11 penalties, 85 yards, absolutely unacceptable. I'm going to throw it out there, man. I might get some hate for it, but do you make a call to New England and see if we can get Zeke? I mean, Zeke has looked like Zeke, what you would expect in New England. He's getting 4 or 5 yards a pop. He's going to get them dirty yards. He knows the offense. He knows the team. Would you make a call? Because I am concerned with definitely a bruising running back. Hunter Henry, Ultra. There's another one. Hunter Henry on New England, doing like a downward spiral. Do you look at them? Zach Ertz is on the Cardinals. I think if you don't believe that our tight end is on this roster that can be a contributor, I am not against looking for somebody, because we have got a couple areas on the offense that we've got to fix. And a bruising running back fixes the tight end group. You could be 100% right. There's 100% right. There could be something there. Let's see. They will only trade for a tight end. Yes. How about them Cowboys? Steve, I said ugly win is a fine win. We didn't need anything. We didn't need anything too crazy. I wanted to get a win out of here that made you feel good. Obviously, getting a win, but made you hungry and made you realize that there is work to do. We don't want to get complacent. This team shouldn't be complacent. Looking at a 4-2 team, you've got the Eagles at 5-1. The first goal in anything is winning a division. Look at the Eagles stretch the next 6-7 games. Look at our stretch. There's an opportunity for us to get things going after this bye, get healthy, get the offense right, clean up some of the mistakes, and go ahead and move past and win the division, because that's the first goal in anything. No, maybe they don't, but they need to do something at running back. They definitely need to do something at running back. I love Pollard. Like I said, I equated Pollard when they tried to make Felix Jones the one. They tried to make Barber the one. You're taking away from what makes Pollard special. What makes Pollard special is the outside running. Give him 10 to 12 carries outside, and he is dynamic. You start banging him up the middle, I just think you lose what makes him special. That's just going to be my opinion. Jason Ferguson's our tight end. Throw him the ball. Offensive coordinator is the real issue. Well, the problem is I don't think we have much to do about the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. So they're going to have to get this thing figured out. But again, they're 4-2. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to start throwing him, but there's definitely some work to do. Should have been 20-10 if it wasn't for Booty Tolbert. I'm not going to blame Tolbert on that. If anything, it was just a funky play. I'd have to watch the replay. Derrick Henry, I think he's going to be too rich for the Cowboys. I think he'd be too rich for him. I don't know what his contract is, but that would be, just a veteran. Just if there's someone out there that we can get at running back that can get, because you think about it, it's like at the last drive I was saying, and they did good. I give the Cowboys credit. The Cowboys did good on that last drive, draining some of that clock, but we did not have that running back that was going to get 4 or 5, that was going to make sure that they didn't get the ball back. And then we gave it back to them with plenty of time. Our defense stepped up. Parsons came through. Gilmore with the pick to seal the deal. Definitely not gonna blame Tolbert on that. That's kind of silly. He made one mistake tonight, but he has been good the rest of the season. Yeah, and again, I don't even know if I put that. Fournette. Fournette. There's some guys on the street. There's definitely guys on the street. So I'm not saying you got to get Zeke, but I just think you've got to get something. Don't you guys agree? Are you comfortable with the running game? Are you comfortable with where we're at? To go we're talking, what are we at, 6 games, so we've got 11 games left, and you want to get into the playoffs, of course, and you got 3 more games. I just think that we just need someone who's gonna bruise it. Let's see what Mikey called. I want to give credit where credit's due. If you guys listen to the fantasy show on Tuesday, Mikey Tag, he called the Browns and the 49ers. He said the Browns, don't sleep on him. He said the Browns, that was going to be an upset. So definitely give him credit. What about Hunter at fullback? Yeah, you're not seeing him get much at fullback or getting many touches. So again, he was an undrafted free agent. I'm not one to go too crazy and think this guy's a savior. Some people compared him to Mike Allstott. I see Mike Allstott playing Tampa. I don't think he's Mike Allstott, but I think they need to look at something. They need to look at something, because I just think they need to get something going on. We have a running game. Where's our running game? We have a running. We have some running backs. We just need something. Deuce, the thing you got to say about Deuce is Deuce, again, the running back I'm looking for is a running back to get in between the tackles and get dirty yards. Deuce is a guy that you want to get out in the open space. You want to get him out there open. You want to make sure that he's, got some move, room to move. He is not in between the tackles. You kind of seen him so far, and he hasn't been the guy to get it done in between. He's small, so that ain't gonna work at all, and it hasn't really worked so far. Um, I just got to text someone real quick. We get all these messages. So anyway, I just think Deuce is nice, but he's not the running back that I'm looking for. Let's see. Now, and more importantly, did Mark beat me in fantasy football? And I said the problem is he's got all these Cowboys, and I want him to win because that means the Cowboys win. But did I give Mark? Did I give you your first win? Someone got to confirm that for me. It would be an embarrassment for me, but it'd be a proud moment because that meant the Cowboys did good. It was kind of a lose-lose or win-win situation, every way you want to look at it. Fournette, too bad, yeah, boy, but I mean, he can. You look at what he did for the Bucks in their Super Bowl. He got hot at the right time. My Chocolate Labs team beat the 40. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the 49ers. You guys kind of saw it. This is the way the NFL is. Any team can win on any given Sunday. You have got to be prepared to play. But more importantly, winning in the NFL, it ain't easy. It's a hard thing to do, and getting these wins. And you're talking about road wins. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys is look at this Chargers team. Now, of course, the media is going to come out tomorrow. They're going to say they're no good. They're going to say that they weren't any good. The Cowboys didn't beat a good team. They made all these mistakes. They did all these other things. They won the game. They won the game. And at the end of the year, it counts as a win in the books. That's all. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Are there things that they need to clean up? Sure, there are. There's definitely things you need to clean up. But this was a game that you can build upon, that they can look back. They fought. It was a back and forth battle. Kellen Moore wanted to win very badly. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. The Cowboys defense stepped up. The offense did what they needed to do. Dak, I didn't see his numbers. He looked like he was efficient to me. Let me go back and look at the numbers and see what we got. But you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy they got the win. We are one game, away from the best record. We got a nice bye week to relax a little bit. The Eagles got to go play Miami. They got this gauntlet they're going to have to do. So things for the Cowboys are looking very promising. We just got to get a little healthy, get a little bit more healthy. The concern I have is the offensive line. They've gotten, how many sacks did they give up? 4 sacks, I think it was. That's a little bit too much for me, for my liking. Definitely got to clean that up. Let me try and see if I can get these comments in there. Let's see. It's hard. I'm doing this outside of my studio, so I'm trying to figure all this out. I'm outside the cave, so I'm just using my laptop. I didn't have to tweet banana. Yes. Thank you, Falk. I was actually thinking about you, man. I'm telling you, I was thinking about you. You're at the game. Things weren't going well. And I said, at what point is my man gonna give me the signal and get the hell out of there, not to be a jinx? You're no longer a jinx, Falk. I appreciate it. Hopefully you represented well. I don't know, how did the crowd look? How did everything look? Hopefully it definitely was a pro Cowboys crowd for sure. Let's see. Tell Jimmy to trade Pitts to the Cowboys. I would do that in a heartbeat, my man Ultra. Let's see what we can do. The Falcons, they got embarrassed, 3 picks, losing to Washington. So you wonder how long that ride's going to last, and maybe they will do something. So, 3 sacks, holding the football, but I mean they were pressuring them. I'm not gonna go lightly on and give the offensive line a pass and not give credit to the Chargers D line. They brought some pressure. So no, not going to make no excuses. Disco Mario, he owes you Disco D owes you a picture for your win, Doug. So and I'll tell you what, Disco D has a beautiful set of of photos. So you just take the pick of the litter. You make sure you let him know you got Bob Lilly in there, you got Charlie Waters, you got Cliff Harris. I mean, you have got so many to choose from. You make sure to do that. Deron Bland, he played big. Definitely, definitely. He's definitely stepped up. Glad to have him on there. Feel like we don't need a tight end. Jake is getting it done. I just don't see that. Again, it's hard for me to really see it, but I just don't see the safety. Dak was, big on a safety valve. You saw, Schultz and obviously, Witten in the later part of his career, but you kind of saw what Schultz did. And I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing it. And, again, it's early in the season. I'm just giving you my initial observations on it. But, and again, hey, the Cowboys defense played well. I'm talking about our offense. I mean, our defense, I thought our defense played well. Thought we did pressure Herbert. We forced some bad throws. We didn't get a ton of sacks, but if you get pressure, it leads to bad throws. It leads to poor decision. It leads to interception. It can lead to a turnover. So I definitely don't have any issues with our defense. I do have some questions with our offensive line. There was some holding penalties. We had some issues with pressure. We gave up 4 sacks. That if my memory's right, there's definitely things that we can clean up. But like I said, it's 6 games into the season. We're not, this is all just kind of it's constructive criticism to our team. It's not. I'm happy with the win. I'm not going to take anything away from that. So let's see what we got here. But I feel like why waste 2 first on a guy you're going to be forced to give long to? No, I get it. I mean, I get it with Pitts, but if we can get a guy to win now, if we don't have the tight end, I want to see the Cowboys go all in. If you see areas of inefficiencies, you see areas of weakness, do you see areas that we can improve? I'm all for going in, man. It's been 28 years. So if we can find something to improve the team, whether it be on defense, maybe it's another pass rusher, maybe it's getting a linebacker. Obviously, LVE is going to be out. So if there's certain things that we can do to improve this team, I am all for it. So, and the Chargers have a great front four. I mean, Khalil Mack, Bosa. I mean, that's probably one of the best front fours that we're going to be facing. So it's not a knock on our offensive line, but I think we hold our offensive line in very high regard and what they can do. And it just, it probably wasn't their best performance. Just my opinion. Didn't seem like we can run the ball very well, very efficiently. I don't have the complete numbers. I'm trying to pull up some of these stats to see where we're at, but probably using up all of my Wi-Fi for that. So not going to do that. Let's see. Cowboys hitting the bye week. I agree with you. I agree. I think they are hitting the bye week at the right time, going 4-2, having a little bit of adversity, coming off a very good win. This is one of those wins where, you probably need that week off. It was, they've gone through a lot. Obviously, the disappointment with San Francisco, a lot of emotions there. You're going into LA, you're going back to the West Coast, you're playing the Chargers, you got the Kellen Moore thing, the storyline, the hate, everything. They probably need a week to recharge those batteries, refresh, regroup, and get ready to make that run. Because if my memory is right, guys, I think we got the Rams coming out of the bye week. That's not a cupcake. I mean, that's not going to be a cupcake game at all. We definitely need to be bringing it. So let's see, Mikey Tag. If I'm being honest, it's time to start Tolbert. That's a question too. Gallup. I saw a lot of drops. Again, it's hard. I'm watching it at a hotel bar. I'm watching it on my phone. It just did not look like Gallup had his best game. Could be wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's it could be time to give Tolbert an opportunity and a look. Let's see what we got in the chat. Aaron Donald's removed. Yeah, well, that would be a no-brainer for me. That would be a no-brainer for me. If you can get an Aaron Donald, there's no question there. Pitt's not costing 2 rounder. He'll go for a 2nd rounder. Yeah, I don't think he would cost 2 first rounders. They may try and get him. I may try and get him for a 2nd rounder or first because Dallas would be a late first. They may try and sneak that in there. And again, if you're happy with your tight ends, then I wouldn't mess with it. But we'll see what happens. Do we kick the tires on Frank Clark? I mean, that could be another one. I mean, there's guys out there that can be had in the trade deadline. And again, you got to give credit where credit's due with Philly last year, as they saw opportunity to get better, and they went all in. And Gallup, I mean, Tolbert's on offense when he was given the opportunities this year. I think he's done fine. I think he's done fine and called upon. I don't think he's gotten a ton of opportunities. Bench Gallup, give Tolbert a shot. I mean, maybe use Gallup as a trade bait, but I mean, he hasn't had the best year. And again, coming off the injury again, I don't know how much you're going to get. I don't know how much you're going to get for him, but we can see what happens. Who we got? Is that my man Sea Dog? The tight end position is lacking in the NFL as a whole, besides Kelsey and a few others. But I tell you, our boy down in Houston, he's been playing pretty well. And again, I was all for letting him go, so I'm not going to sit there and say that was a mistake. Don't bench Gallup. Give Tolbert some throws, though. Well, that's an opportunity. I mean, in order for Tolbert to get some opportunities, we gotta get some we got to get something going. And of course, Tolbert is still booty. That's my man Ultra. He's riding the Tolbert hate train. I thought he got off the train, but he jumped back on the train. So we'll see what happens. But no, Cowboys Nation, it was definitely a great night. And I'll tell you, it's not the easiest thing being a Cowboys fan and having my routine and being able to watch in the cave, and you're watching it at a hotel bar. I had some Cowboy friends with me from work, so we had a good time with it. We watched a little bit on the TV, then we were able to get back into the bar and watch it. So it definitely was good. We've got tomorrow night, we've got our fantasy football show. If you guys are into fantasy football, you guys work in your fantasy, we got some guys on there that definitely bring it. But more importantly, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun, and you have a good time. I'm going to be back Wednesday night. I'll be back in the cave, back home. Kelly K9 and I, we're going to talk about this game a little bit more in depth. We got Uncle Cheech, who's got to give his picks. He had a terrible week. We don't even want to talk. I don't know if Uncle Cheech is going to want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't know what happened to me if I make fun of him. So we got Uncle Cheech. He's kind of getting in there. So we've got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. But I think I might have a special guest coming into the cave. And this is what it's all about. We like to bring people into the cave. I'm trying to see if he's live or not. Let's give him a minute, because we always enjoy when people want to join in the cave. So let's just see what happens. Let's go through the chat while he gets ready. If Cooks takes an angle to the pylon, he scores a TDC. I missed that, so I'm gonna have to go back and look. That's one I missed. So I'm not sure what you're saying, Doug, but I will take your word for it. Brock Bowers would be great in a Cowboys uniform, but he ain't gonna help us. He ain't gonna help us this year. And yeah, he's been injured, but he ain't gonna help us this year. I need guys that can help us now. I need guys that are gonna be able to help us now. We featured Tolbert in camp, but no run in the game. I know, and and given those opportunities, I mean, Tolbert did what he needed to do in camp. So I'm not gonna, I think he needs to get more opportunities. If you really think about it, when you're going into the next year, I mean, what are you going to have? You're probably going to be letting Gallup go. It's a money thing. You're going to have Tolbert on a lesser deal. You're going to have to re-sign CD, extending that deal. So you're going to draft another receiver. So, it's a money thing. But I think we might have someone popping into the cave. And I mean, I don't know. You've got Kelly K9 in here. They ain't popping in the cave. What's happening, my brother?
Well, I am just as giddy as a hog rolling in horse shit right now. How about them Cowboys, baby?
Hey, man, we talked about it. And what did we say? You and I both said, we don't need to see a blowout. We almost want to get a dirty game. We almost want some adversity. We almost want something to get this thing going, or where we get some sort of feeling out of it. So, you got to watch it in TV. I was telling the viewers, I kind of had to watch it, some of it from my phone and some of it into my, in the hotel bar. So what was your real observations seeing it, being able to hear everyone talking? I mean, what's your thoughts on the Cowboys?
So, I mean, I was a little bit off on the score. It was a lot lower scoring than what I thought, but it was exactly what I wanted to see. A time, Dak playing with some adversity. I mean, there was flags all over the field. Mike McCarthy was trying to give that away with some of his management. I thought that going into halftime was the biggest chicken shit move that I've ever seen. 8 seconds, letting it go down to 3. You could have at least taken one more shot at the end zone. I thought that Dak won in spite of Mike McCarthy tonight. I thought he won in spite of him. And I thought, for as critical as I was of Dak last week, I have to give him praise this week. I know he missed a couple throws, but man, Dak was cooking tonight, and he was making all the right, scrambling out of the pocket. They could not get him down. He was on his A game tonight. I loved it.
Well, let's talk about a couple things. First, the Mike McCarthy thing. Again, I'm watching. So I'm not hearing the audio, and I saw 9 seconds. Next thing you know, I saw 3. We had timeouts. I'm like, what? And I was even talking to the people next to me. I said, no, you don't need to throw in the end zone. He can throw something that, even if it's an underneath, and you give the chance to get Yak into the end zone. It doesn't have to be an end zone or nothing pass. And then I saw it go down to 3. The other thing, you and I talked about it. You and I talked about how many times do we see Dak doing the RPO and he's handing it and say, God damn it, hold the ball, you're wide open. And what does he get, a 16-yard touchdown run?
Pulled it right out of Pollard's belly, just like this, like we talked about on the show the other night. So the timeout thing, from what I understand, is that Mike McCarthy told the ref he wanted to run the clock down to 3 seconds and call the timeout, which, I mean, I'm sorry, if you have 8 seconds and Dak's been throwing the ball the way he was, and CeeDee Lamb was on his game, like, you at least try for one play to the end zone, man, because playing conservative, it can come back to bite you. Now, tonight, obviously, it didn't. We were able to pull it off. Defense sealed the game for us in the end, but I mean, it's just not an approach that I like. I don't like that. And I thought Mike McCarthy, we had gotten kind of past that, some of those bad time management kind of things, and obviously we didn't. But again, I feel like that Dak, the way that he played, I feel like he won in spite of everything that happened out there tonight. I think that is resilient, is the one word that comes to mind, resilient, because this team had several times throughout the game where they could have folded. That drive with the Chargers, where there was 2 big penalties in that drive that got the Chargers down to where it looks like, oh man, they're going to score. They're on their side of the field. Defense clamped up, boom, holds them. They end up having to punt the ball there. I mean, I thought that it was a complete team game. I mean, it was sloppy at points. There was way too many penalties for me, but good road win against a good team, man.
Yeah.
The Chargers are a good team, and that was a good win. That's a quality win for the Cowboys, and I like what I saw from Dak in that passing game, and I just hope that they continue to build off that. Also, Brandon Cooks, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys Touchdown Club. Thank you. We got a Brandon Cooks sighting. Been waiting for that for a while. We finally got to see that, and great game, man.
Doug said something about if Cooks would have reached out to the pylon, he would have had I guess that would have been another touchdown. Maybe that was earlier in the game. I didn't see it. Was there something where Cooks could have had a touchdown earlier? Or did I miss? Did you see it? I don't know. Doug was talking about it, so I was just curious if you saw.
I think I know. Well, I don't know if I know the play he's talking about. I know there was a play where I thought they could have had a first down and they didn't reach out to the pylon, out. But I thought that was a first down, not a touchdown. But
okay, maybe I missed. Maybe I could have misunderstood. It's you're trying to go through all this stuff.
But I do know that what I was a little upset about is the fact that we haven't seen, and Gallup had a couple of plays down the end where he kind of resumed, but I feel like Dak and Gallup were kind of off today with their communications and stuff. I would like to see some more Jalen Tolbert, man. I want to see some Jalen Tolbert.
I wanted to ask that. It's been hot in the chat. I know Mikey from our fantasy show, Mikey Tag, he's been saying maybe it's time we need to get Tolbert in there and bench Gallup. And then he just commented, I'm sorry. I know we paid Gallup, but him getting 10 more targets than CD is crazy. I thought CD had more in the game, but I guess maybe Gallup had more targets in the game than CD.
But I think he did. I think Gallup did ended up with more targets. But I will say this, man. Look, they talked about it in the off week, and they talked about CeeDee Lamb, and should he be the focal point, number 1 wide receiver? Obviously, they made him the focal point tonight. And look, good things happen when you target CeeDee Lamb. Good things happen. CeeDee Lamb, every ball that was thrown his way was caught. Every ball that was thrown his way tonight. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott were on tonight. They were definitely on. And you know what? I'm loving that they started finally getting Brandon Cooks involved in this game. He ran that little jet sweep around the end. I think that went for about 16, 17 yards.
That was a great
Beautiful,
play.
beautiful, beautiful play. So look,
So
I mean,
here we go. See, here we go. I finally got some numbers up. I want to get your thoughts. So CD, 7 targets. You had Gallup with 10 targets. Gallup had 3 catches for 24 yards. CD, 7 targets, 7 catches, 117 yards.
yeah,
So every target he had was a catch.
exactly. He
Gallup
didn't nothing. Didn't drop
didn't,
nothing.
he got like 30% of his targets were catches.
Yeah,
So
see, I don't get that. I don't get why we keep pushing the thing to Gallup because I don't feel that connection's really been there. I mean, he looks better than he did last year. I will say that. But I feel like we could get more out of Tolbert at this point. And you I get it. We've paid Gallup some money, but Tolbert's a young guy that you want to see what you have in him before his contract's up. This is year 2. I mean, do you wait till year 3 to integrate him? I mean, I sit there and I remember training camp and all we talked about and everything they talked about the big plays he was making. Then we saw him in preseason playing good, and now you're not playing him. So it don't make any sense to me to not have him out there, another playmaker out there. But I will say it's very encouraging that we finally saw some things out of Brendan Cooks tonight, and we
yeah,
started to see that connection forming. Because I've said all along, if we can start building that, and that's the thing with this game. This is a step in the right direction. And it's a
yeah.
building block. It's a building block, and it's a step in the right direction, and it's a very encouraging thing that we saw. Outside of the penalties, that was just horrible. But this referee crew seemed to be pretty flag happy because they were heavy on flags both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on the flags, but it was crazy. I know it was crazy on our side, and it seemed like it was crazy on theirs. One other thing that was hot in the chat, and it's really something I brought up, and I think you and I have talked about, is the running game. And is Pollard? Is he a one? Is he a guy that when you get them dirty yards, 15 carries, 30 yards. That's a
Yeah,
lot of carries, a lot of beating in between 2 yards a carry. He's much better outside. His longest run was 7. That's not Pollard-esque. I mean, Dak was the team leader in rushing with 40 yards, 7 carries, 40 yards. You had Cooks that you talked about, 14 yards. You had Rico at 3 carries for 12 yards. So you're talking 26 carries for 86 yards, 3.7 yards a carry.
run
Are you
game.
okay with the running game? Is there
Well,
something you want to look at? Is there someone outside that you would be reaching out to and trying to maybe bring someone in to get some dirty yards? I don't know.
I don't really know if there's at this point. I don't really know. I feel like everybody's kind of got snagged up of the people that were out there that I thought that we could maybe bring in here. At this point, though, I feel like you just need to give Rico Dowdle a little bit more carries. And the reason I say that is because it's not that I don't like Pollard. It's not a knock on Pollard, but when you watch Dowdle, there is a difference with how they hit the hole. Period. It's just Dowdle hits that with physicality, man. Like he's 100 miles an hour in the hole, whereas Pollard, he's more of a kind of patient runner. He's trying to pick his holes and he's trying to find his spots. Well, the problem is our run blocking hasn't been that great, and many of the times he's trying to do that, he's getting hit for a 2-yard loss, 3-yard loss. I mean, your running assignment typically is going to be to hit a certain gap, and you should just hit that. And that's what Dowdle does. He hits it 100 miles an hour. Like he just he's not looking to see if something else is opening up. Pollard, I feel like, is kind of always looking for that crease, that gap, and that's fine if your run blocking is getting you those gaps and we're not. There's a lot of negative plays for Pollard where he's getting hit in the backfield. So I think our offensive line maybe not doing him any favors, but I do feel like Dowdle seems like the more physical runner. And honestly, I'd start to lean a little bit more towards Dowdle, and then kind of have Dowdle be the Zeke role, and Pollard take him back to the role that he excelled in last year. And that, again, that's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on Pollard. I just don't think Pollard's a number one back from what I've seen from him thus far. He just doesn't look like it.
He made a hell of a play. He really made the play of the game with the receiving ability, but that's what he's good at. But I would make the argument. Have you seen Pollard get caught from behind before? I mean, he got
No,
caught from behind, and
not
I'm
very
just
many
telling you,
times.
maybe he's wearing down. Maybe that 15 carries for 30 yards wears you down a little bit. I want to see
Yeah.
him fresh.
Oh, I thought it was a touchdown for sure.
Yeah,
But The one thing I'll say on that play, man, the one thing I will say on that play, and I give Pollard, Pollard a lot of credit for he made some play, but man, Dak Prescott rolling out of the pocket and keeping his
Huge.
eyes downfield, not throwing that away, not tucking it and trying to run it, found Pollard. Huge play, man. Huge play at a big time in the game, because if we don't get that, it's a punt. It's 3 and out. It's a big play in the game. It felt like every big play that we needed to have, Dak stepped up and made something happen.
And you and I talked about it.
That.
Make sure if you guys are new, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Let me get the pleasantries and the solicitations out of the way. But we talked about Dak and, what we saw in San Francisco, and you were hard on him, and I was, critical of and hard on him too. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes tough love is a love you got to give. But this is the kind of Dak that I think the Cowboys can win with. This is the leadership he showed, the toughness. I mean, he was sacked 5 times. I want to get your opinion on the offensive line too, because again, you were seeing it. I brought it up. Some people said, well, maybe, it was Dak's fault. He got sacked. He held on the ball too long or whatever. But I saw Dak make plays under pressure, and that's the Dak that's good. He don't need to throw for 400 yards. He don't need to throw for all that stuff. He needs to move the chains when needed and get those tough yards and make good decisions and keep the chains moving for this offense, because the offense is still not where I think you and I both think it can be and should be with the talent we have on it. But what's your thoughts with Dak Prescott, and just kind of the way he played?
Look, I thought that Dak Prescott had a bad game last week, but I also, when I watched it back, thought that the play calling didn't do him any favors. But I thought tonight shows you the kind of quarterback that Dak Prescott can be. And I thought that, I feel like throughout the course of a game, every quarterback is going to have some throws where they miss guys. I mean, hell, Herbert was doing it all night. Herbert had a wide open Keenan Allen. Wide open. I mean, that pass that he missed Keenan Allen, that's 7. That's a touchdown there. That's a touchdown he missed him on. So every quarterback, no matter how elite, is going to have plays where they miss games. So Dak had a couple where he missed, but he hit on more than he missed. And I thought that Dak showcased tonight the kind of quarterback that he could be, the kind of quarterback we've seen him, that gives us the confidence to say he's a quarterback that can get us to where we need to be. If we play that kind of football, complementary football, and you minimize the penalties, and you just, I've been begging, man, for Mike McCarthy, like, dude, just take the cuffs off Dak, man. Let him throw the ball. And when it's time for him to run, tell him, hey, dude, you got the green light. If you see it's open, run it, man. I mean, I felt like Dak tonight looked like a guy that was motivated, and he definitely looked like a guy that was, look, it's all about, we talked all week. How are you going to respond after getting hit in the mouth? I mean, and knocked out, was what happened, right? How will you respond? And I thought that collectively, I thought that offense responded very well, because they just, I saw a stat going into the day that said, and I don't know, they make up all kinds of stats, but this stat was kind of struck me. It said that teams are 1-19 record, a 1-19 record after losing to the 49ers. And I think that has something to do with how physical the 49ers are. So basically, when the 49ers beat you, the opponents that play the next week, they're 1-19, have a 1-19 record after getting beat. But that's 2-19 now, because we got that win. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we looked at this as demoralizing, right? This is a demoralizing loss. And how would that affect the psyche of this Cowboys team? How would they show and how would they respond to a team that had 2 weeks to prepare for us?
They did.
That Chargers team had 2 weeks to prepare for the Cowboys. So we're coming in off getting our asses whooped in a Sunday night football game. They're coming in 2 weeks rest. And I thought that, the game was sloppy at times, but I thought that Dak played about as sharp as you can play. I thought we wanted to see Dak step up, take the reins of this team, and lead this team. I thought he did exactly that tonight. I can't find any faults in Dak's game tonight at all. And I got to give it. So
Mikey brought another good stat is, Dak was 11 for 11 when targeting CD and Cooks tonight at one point. I don't know if it changed later, but I thought I kind of saw that. And, the one thing I got to say, and for you guys, we got, obviously some new people listening and all this. We do have our fantasy football show, and we have a fantasy football we have a league, and the winner is going to get a Cuts by Jones, going to get a ring. There's a lot to play for, and we had a running joke because one of our guys picked all Cowboys, and unfortunately. And Kelly, if I'm gonna give you the opportunity. If you say, Mike, I think it's time for you to go from the show. You're an embarrassment to the show. I will sign off and never come back. But someone gave Mark his first win today, and it was a very tough thing because, like I said, it hurts me either way because I want Mark. If Mark wins, that means the Cowboys did very well. If Mark loses, the Cowboys didn't do very well. And unfortunately, I'm on the short side of the short end of the stick, and Mark beat me in fantasy football. So
Oh
I'm
wow.
embarrassed.
Wow. Wow. Well, hey, listen, we said before, man, if Mark wins, it's a good thing for the Cowboys, right? Cowboys must have played really good.
Oh, how embarrassing! But
I'll share something on that note here, man. I was 4-1 going into this week and feeling pretty good about my team. I made the mistake. Justin Fields had been playing pretty well, so I started him, and of course, he got me 5 points. I literally lost tonight, 98.44 to 98.12.
oh
I was
my
on the 90.
God,
Listen, I needed one more catch by Keenan Allen. One more catch. Keenan Allen basically put me back in the game. I was out. I had a 1% chance of winning going into the game, made it all the way up to 98 points, and I'm like, all right, man. Surely we're getting one more catch from Keenan Allen on this last drive, and the Cowboys defense showed up. So,
yeah.
you know,
Well, that's a tough thing is when you're going up against him, it really pulls your heart either way.
it
Nothing
does.
against
It does. And honestly, I'll take the fantasy loss if it means the Cowboys win 7 days out of the week. So I can't complain. But
Absolutely. And Mike O'Neill, he pointed out another important stat: no interceptions for Dak. At one point, I think it said Dak was 16 for 16 other than Gallup. I mean, those are kind of things that you got to look at. Yeah, Mikey lost as well. Injuries killed his team. So our fantasy league is shaken up, but there was a Disco D did put out something during the draft because he was laughing at Mark's game, and he said if Mark ever wins a game, he's going to get a picture of his choice that out of his collection. So people who don't know, Disco D has a ton of football pictures. If you look in my cave, that's probably where I get a lot of my stuff is with the help of him. So Mark has an opportunity to get something for his cave, and it could be Bob Lilly, Cliff Harris. I mean, there's so many Cowboys that he has. So
there you go.
Mark better make sure he reminds him of that tomorrow night.
There you go. There you go. Mark, reach out, man. Take advantage of that, man. It's not too often your team's going to catch a win this year, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So I jumped on. I walked up the elevator. I haven't been able to go on social media. So curious how you had to have dropped something. I'm sure you dropped something on there. Is it definitely worth the people checking out? Obviously, make sure they're following you on
Oh
Twitter.
yeah,
Follow
man.
me
Oh
on
yeah.
Twitter. But was it PG-13? Was it R? Was it NC-17? I mean, what are we looking at?
PG-13, man. PG-13. Okay. I kept this one. I don't feel like I went too overboard on this one, man. Obviously, I was pretty happy about the win and everything, but I felt like I kept it probably PG-13. It's not too crazy, man. I mean, Cowboys gonna have to rattle off a few more wins to take me into the NC-17 and rated X versions or whatever. And I have to rattle off a few more wins, man. But this was a good one. I dropped the post game reaction video. It was funny though because I was seeing a lot of people, man. Dude, man, sometimes, man, I understand that we were demoralized as a fan base, man. But dude, to start the game, man, I was seeing all kinds of tweets that were coming at me, and there were people like, "Oh, here we go again."
Well, that's how. Yeah, take me
Hold
in
it.
the world because again, that's the hard thing with me is with my job. It makes it difficult. Sometimes I'm out of pocket, so I did not really see any social media from about way before the game and
pretty
then.
much,
So, what
yeah.
was the world like in Twitter world for Cowboys fans throughout this game? I know you're heavy deep in that.
The first game or the first quarter or the first couple drives, the Cowboys Nation there was a lot of people that were going off the deep end again. They're like, here we go, man. This team is soft. I saw several tweets about this team being soft. This team don't have what it takes. I mean, because the Chargers go right down the field. They score on their first drive. We get the ball back. We go 3 and out. It's looking a lot like the San Francisco game. So there's a lot of fans out there getting PTSD. There's people like, oh man, Dak's not it, this and that. And I'm like, hey guys, hold on. Let's give it some time. It was just the first drive. Let's see what the second drive brings about. But then there was a lot of people talking about Parsons all night too. They're like, "Where's Parsons? He's been non-existent." Now I will say this: he was non-existent on the stat sheet, but he was getting pressure. Parsons was putting some pressure on these guys. He got, I think, 2 or 3 holding calls called against him. So I mean, he's getting pressure. He creates in other aspects besides just on the stat sheet. It's not always going to be on the stat sheet.
Well,
but
real quick, it's just when they talk about pressure. Pressure creates bad throws. We saw
that's right, and
some
that's
bad
why
pressure. So go ahead.
yes,
Sorry.
and that's why Herbert was off all night long.
Yeah.
The pressure was on him, and it was on him heavy. And then and then look, even Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said Parsons has been relatively quiet, and literally the next play, Parsons comes through that line and just blasts Herbert on a 2nd and 5 for a 5-yard loss to make it 3rd and 10. And then the play right after that again causes pressure right up the middle, which causes Herbert to have to make a bad, a quick time throw. Interception, Stephon Gilmore, game sealed. Defense does their part. So listen, the offense did their part scoring the points, and the defense did their part to keep this offense of the Chargers from going down the field and having a chance to tie this game. So, I mean, you really can't complain about much of anything tonight. If you're going to have any beef tonight, it's just going to be with the play calling of Mike McCarthy, seeming to be a little conservative at sometimes. The time management going into half, and then all the penalties. We definitely got to clean that shit up. But well, I mean, outside of that, it was a good game.
Yeah, we're going to get into it heavy. I know a lot of people. It's getting late. It's at 12:30 Eastern. It's 11:30 my time and your time. You got to work. Yeah. I got to work. So we're going to start. But more importantly, is Wednesday. We are back at 9. We got the bye week. We're going to get into this Cowboy thing because we're going to talk a little bit further about it. I want to know from you, Kelly, and obviously we want to have this conversation with everyone in the chat. Where are you at with this Cowboy team 4-2? More importantly, where do you see the Cowboys setting up and within our division? You've made the comment before the season, you stood by 8 and 9. We start looking at this schedule like, well, Philly's got a tough road. Cowboys have an opportunity, I think, to pass them over the next few games. So we're going to talk a little bit about that into it. So make sure you guys tune in Tuesday for the Fantasy Football Show. Tune in Wednesday because Kelly and I are going to be mixing it up, and we're going to be talking some Cowboys, and then we've got some more stuff in store. So I don't have anything else. Kelly, I know you got into some beef today. Is there anything you want to say to our Philly fans that troll us, or Niner fans, the gang, whatever, the 49er gang, all that bullshit?
No, just know that Victory Tuesday, man. I got some receipts and the clip is already loaded, man. The clip is already loaded. I'm bringing that shit tomorrow. So all them people was talking shit after me dropping my video about being happy about Philly losing and San Fran losing, that says we would go get blown out by the Chargers and everything, that we was going to be 3-3, focus on my team. I got the clip loaded, guys. The internet is forever. Just remember that. And you can never bury me because I'm always going to come back, man. I don't care, win or lose. I'm going to talk my smack.
Absolutely, man. Well, good, man. Enjoy it. I wish I could have seen the game live in the cave, but you definitely helped fill in some of the hype, some of the voids. I've got to go back on Twitter and watch it. I got to go watch your video to make sure that'll keep me up another hour because you can be all hyped up. So Cowboys Nation, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, like, share. We appreciate it. We getting this party started. The Cowboys 4-2 going into bye. I didn't want to say I told you so, but Kelly, you know what my record was going to the bye. It was 4-2. So all the crap, we're right where we need to be, and we're getting ready to make that run. So Cowboys Nation, we will see you next time. You guys take care.
Peace out.
Meeting is going to be commencing real soon because we're getting ready to get this party started. Can you feel me? Can you?